Welcome back to the chase. It's Marcus Nelson on pole from the Red Devil and Catfish here in Buenos Aires. Then it's Revo and Pablo Sierra. 6th place starts Ica World, one of the greatest qualifying performances we've seen from that team. Then it's Tenali Gamo, Remy LeBeau, Buenos Jr., Ahmed, Sebo Campo, UK Ball, and Tommy in 13th. Then it's Dav Sanchez with the other Trackhouse of Chiclerc in 15th. Then it's Ben Allen Lee and Falstad, only 17th for him. Bogdasarov starts 18th from Pierre Gasly and Mohamed Awawi. Then there's Notq and Zay Lane in 22nd. Well then, after the first 3 races of the chase being absolutely magnificent, we've got Nelson on pole from Remy LeBeau. All 5 lights go on. And the Buenos Aires Prix is green, and that's a very decent start from Nelson. A much better start from the Red Devil, who started second, rather. His teammate Remy LeBeau, I keep thinking it's him, because he won here at the start of Season 20, and he sends it down the inside to take the race lead. The Red Devil emulates his teammates, who's already up into 5th. Both Kiro cars might have found a happy hunting ground here in Argentina. Revo's found his way up into 2nd position, but now Catfish on the outside of Remy sends it down the inside, just about keeps it out of the wall. Everyone seemingly keeping it quite clean. And Notq drops to 22nd, and Falstad has dropped down to 20th. A truly torrid start for the Norwegian driver, who comes through turns 4 and 5 right now alongside Pierre Gasly, but currently out in front. It's the Red Devil from Revo and Marcus Nelson with Remy LeBeau so close in, so you'd think they'd make contact. Further back contact has been made, and that's UK Ball getting a 5-second time penalty for colliding with, I believe, Tenali Gabo. If not him, then Dav Sanchez. But the field so packed, and yes, it was Gabo who made contact as Catfish drops to 7th behind Ica World, who looks now to try and get past Marcus Nelson, who's currently dropped down to 6th. So for the pole sitters, he started on pole and has dropped to 6th on the opening lap. But of course, we saw this last time out. The hard tyres can go an extremely long distance thanks to the compound that Michelin has given us for this season. But now we go on to lap 2 of 12, and I think the Kiro team's party is about to be spoiled by the champion of Season 20. Revo takes the lead in Buenos Aires, but now the Red Devil's going to get attack mode into turn 3. Might not even need it. That rear wing is wide open. They go side by side into this 3rd turn on the track. It's the same as the other 2, except you get a long run, and that run has been used to perfection. The Red Devil has found his way up into the race lead, as Ica World now up into 5th, as Catfish up into 6th as well. This is not going the way of Marcus Nelson in that 13 car. Buenos Jr. using his father's old helmet, his father's first helmet in fact. He's currently about to drop down to 13th if Chiclerc can get past, but he's currently in 12th, fighting for 11th with contact with Sierra, and that's dropped the Spaniard down to 13th. Not ideal for either driver currently in the postseason. And for Chiclerc, he's now looking to try and get himself up into 12th and sends it down the inside, almost into the back of that silver Diaz Venturi car in front of him. And they are still side by side, squabbling over this position, as further up front, as those 2 fight it out for 11th, well, you've got Gabo and Marcus Nelson going side by side for 7th for a start. Remy LeBeau sets a new fastest lap, and it's gone past Revo to make it a 1-2 for Kiro Renault. Catfish currently in 6th on the back of not just Ahmed, but also Ica World fighting over 4th position. Ica up into 4th for Trackhouse Racing. That Renault powertrain in the back of that blue car has made them go from field filler to genuine contender. That is the effect that a different powertrain can give you. As you can see, the Renault powered Power Motorsport car of UK Law gets himself up into 7th ahead of Marcus Nelson. Gabo's dropped all the way down to 10th. Almost contact with Dav Sanchez fighting over that 9th position. And in fact, that is going to be 9th. And into the wall has gone Nelson! Marcus Nelson, he's lost his front wing! As he now comes through the hill, gets a little bit of airtime and hits the wall as well. Yellow flags have stopped and still contact being made. Yellow flags are back out, and Notq getting a 5-second time penalty. track is not yet clear. It's clear now, but Nelson has dropped outside of the top 10 and in fact the top 15 as well. He's dropped from pole to 16th in a matter of 3 laps. That's how quickly this championship can move. And for Sebastian Ocampo, just pointing this out, he's found his way up into 11th, but he's 2 seconds off of Buenos Jr. For him, being a driver in the postseason, every point is necessary. For the Red Devil, I'm not too sure if they're going to play team orders down at Kiro. They might, and in all honesty, something tells me that they should, as Marcus Nelson, he had front wing damage after hitting the wall that first time, and unfortunately he has had to come into the pits. But as for the guys down at Kiro, a 1-2 is magnificent. However, I'm not too sure if they want the Red Devil to be leading that 1-2, because the number 99 car from the Netherlands, he's not the one fighting for a postseason cup. For the Chase Cup, that man going for it is the 27, the one who won here in wet conditions at the start of Season 20, now in the postseason returns to Argentina as a slightly more experienced driver, but now as one who has already been established. Catfish in 5th, a well-established driver in this league, currently trying to close up to the DS McLaren in front of him, same as with that new DS powertrain behind it. But for whatever reason, Ahmed's just been speeding away in that double 2 car compared to the single 2 of Catfish. As they now go on to start lap number 5, you might see some early stops here. As on to lap 5 of 12 we go, and Remy LeBeau, well, it's been a good run having that 1-2 for Kiro, but Ravo's just snatched it away as Sanchez comes into the pits on lap 5. Now, we did see this last time out in Nigeria. Drivers who came in very early were forced to do the 2-stop strategy. So maybe staying out until maybe 6 or 7 in terms of what the lap is could be the strategy, as you can see Remy LeBeau and Revo going alongside each other to fight for second place. They are 1.2 seconds off the back, almost contact with the back of that Kiro Renault car as they head into this next turn, almost down the inside for Revo. They might go side by side up the hill. You don't want to go side by side up the hill, and they do not go side by side up the hill. And Revo getting into that dirty air of the Kiro in front of him. As they now begin their descent, that will see them head into the 3rd sector, the fastest sector on the calendar, which doesn't really have any turns because of how quickly you take them in these cars. However, just on the point of tyre strategy, these soft tyres are absolutely shredded as we go on board with the power Renault of U-Cable, defending from fellow Renault-powered driver in Ica World for Trackhouse Racing. All I can really say to that is these tyres are not holding up in the slightest, as into the pits have come both Revo and Ahmed, and it seems like we've got a real influx of drivers. U-Cable and Ica World, as well as Ahmed and Babinas Jr. all coming into the pits. We might see some others into the pits, but at half race distance, it is still a Kiro 1-2, followed by the 2 Sims cars of all drivers. Didn't think that the DS powertrain would do that much in terms of Sims' performance, but the more you know, and more competition is only a good thing in literally everything. Marcus Nelson, new fastest lap of 1:25.9, as Babinas Jr. comes out behind him. Side by side, the two of them go. Although, for the sake of just not trying to interrupt the race, I would say Nelson should let Babinas Jr. go by, but at the same time, they are both fighting for the Chase Cup. Nelson has, however, scored no points toward the chase and goes very deep going through turn 3, trying to hold on to that 18th position. They are still alongside each other heading into the chicane, just about keeping it as clean as humanly possible. Don't want to really make any contact. We've been very fortunate to not have any retirements throughout this race so far. On board with Anot Q, who's fighting with Ica World further up. You've got Pierre Gasly getting passed by Zay Lane there, and Revo getting past Oscar Falstad, who started in 17th. And that's just a nice fact to know, considering he started his career in season 17. The 2 Kiro drivers staying out. Catfish comes into the pits at the end of lap number 6. Ocampo follows him in. And I don't think that the overcut strategy is going to work too well immediately. Gasly comes in as well. Very late turn in. Zay Lane also with him, as well as Falstad into the pits. And Tommy and Sierra. And that's a very unsafe release down at Venturi. But it is still the Red Devil leading from Remy LeBeau, and those medium tyres are beginning to show signs of their age, and out of the race has gone Remy LeBeau. Sorry, that's the Red Devils. I'm so sorry. I keep thinking it's a Frenchman because, in all honesty, Remy has been such more of a showman compared to the Red Devil, who's just been this driver who's been able to score points and get that win in Victoria. But today in Argentina, it's Argentina for the Red Devil, who is out of this race, and that was an absolutely terrible pun. That did not work in the slightest. On board with Babinus Jr. Going through that chicane. And he is not struggling in the slightest when it comes to the tyre question. Marcus Nelson, his soft tyres already showing signs of their age. Remy should come into the pits at the end of this lap. He might stay out. I doubt he will, and he does come in. But then you've got to wonder, do Kiro have the right tyres for him? He's going to be racing Ahmed and Revo at pit exit because Leclerc and Gabo are both in at the end of 7 to start lap number 8. And Ahmed, in the number 22 car, is going for his second career victory in 4 races. That is insane. Lap 8 of 12. Yes, this isn't going to any source of actual ERL championship. This isn't the championship. This is purely a postseason tournament, basically, where the winner does get some form of recognition. However, it's only for those who did well during the main season. So it's just really that question of, right now, what if Ahmed had competed throughout all of season 20 and not just right now in the postseason? Because he's proving to be quite the driver indeed. 3 wide between Sanchez, Catfish, and Iker World there, heading through that chicane as they now come through the 90-degree right-hander, which sees them now rise up the hill side by side between the Andretti and Sims men. McCatfish holding his line and his nerve, and we've got yellows, and it's down here. Is that for? It is! It's Sebastian Ocampo who's hit the wall going through the uphill. He's lost his front wing. He'll need to come into the pits at the end of this lap. Sierra's been given a 5-second time penalty. I don't know when that would have been handed out. Going through this part of the track for Ocampo, of course, oh, he's out! Oh, dearie me! That's Ocampo's day over! Of all times and of all places, another virtual safety car with laps to go. Ahmed is still leading the way from Revo and UK Ball. And Nelson now coming into the pits for the second time, getting a cheaper pit stop, but he drops outside of the points for it. I think he'll re-emerge around Falstad and Lane. Where is he currently? He's heading down the straight, so he's probably going to re-emerge around Ben Allen Lee. That's probably closer compared to where he's going to come out, but he is heading down the straight, so it might be around the back. He comes out just behind Mohamed Nawawi in 19th position as his teammate is now going for the race lead, but he's only got a few more laps to do it in. For Ocampo, that's just the pinnacle of a lack in fortune, to be honest. I didn't see that coming. Of course, losing a front wing means that you lose downforce, and that turn right there was the last time where you needed any source of downforce. This upcoming turn that we're coming up to with Revo on board, that's the last time you need any form of downforce for this track. You might want it for that turn, but you need less, and it's another virtual safety car for UK Ball, who is out of the race as well in the barriers, and he lost his front wing too. Did he lose that? Down at the hill, further back on the track. There's a possibility that the race leaders can come in, and yes, Ahmed is in to the pit. Revo stays out. and now has blisters developing on his tires. Virtual safety car ending, Revo leads, Remy LeBeau second, Ica World dives in as well, Catfish is now up into third position. You've got a real who's who of some of the greatest, most experienced drivers on the field, but right now we are witnessing a potential divergence in strategy, whether or not the one stop is better than the two, as the playoff driver in Revo still leading this race from fellow postseason competitor in Remy LeBeau. His teammate is the first retirement today. We've got 2 World Championship winners out, with 3 championships between them. One of them going to Cable, so the other 2 to Ocampo, which is very interesting to think of. Since season 14, the majority of championships won have gone to drivers who were not participating in the ERL prior. And we've got yellow flags, and my goodness me, what's happened down here? That's Leclerc and Ben Allen Lee, 2 drivers of British nationality, and out of the race goes Buenos Jr. It's a puncture for Leclerc. His front right tire is down. Alan Lee has lost his front wing. Leclerc has lost one of his front tires. Almost a loss of any form of grip for Ben Allen Lee going up the hill there. Virtual safety cars ending, but for Leclerc and Trackhouse Racing, that is so unfortunate, but possibly more unfortunate for Buenos Jr., considering that he was fighting for points in the postseason. And Remy LeBeau, Catfish, comes into the pits with Revo rather. Remy LeBeau leads this race from Tenali Gabo and Ahmed. Is Remy trying to do an Argentina sweep, winning the race in the regular season and in the postseason? Well, if he were to do it, there would be no one else more suited to do so than him. He might be known as the master of Argentina after this race, like Akari was in season 15 after winning the season 14, 15, and 15 postseason races in Manila. And here comes Pierre Gasly on Oscar Falstad, and into the wall goes Falstad! Out of the race goes the McLaren driver! Another postseason driver eats the dust. And on the penultimate lap, it's another virtual safety car as into the pits comes Lars Leclerc. And right now for Trackhouse Renault, all I can see them doing is trying to go for the fastest lap. A fastest lap currently held by Marcus Nelson, who's ahead of his teammates in Revo. So in terms of the drivers currently in the postseason, Remy LeBeau leads from Sierra and Bogdasar, the 2 Renault drivers both struggling when it comes to tyre wear. Then you've got Marcus Nelson ahead of teammate Revo, but they're currently so close on track that this is about to happen down the inside on not just as oh my goodness, that's so many moves made there. And is there a tyre problem? No. Ica was just quite a ways back. 2 moves made, however, in 1 turn for Revo. That is some racecraft. As on to the final lap we go in Argentina. Remy LeBeau, when he last came to Argentina in the ERL, it was his 3rd race of his career. It was the 3rd race for his team, as Zaylane getting passed by Marcus Nelson there. For Remy, it was his 3rd race for Kira Renault. The 3rd race Kira Renault had participated in the ERL, as Ahmed on the back of Tenali Gabo trying to deny the Sims Motorsport man of a podium of any form. Remy set to fastest first sector. He came into that race and he won it. Not on pace, however, as out of the race has gone Tenali Gabo. Unfortunate for the Sims man, but that does provisionally promote. It's Pierre Gasly onto the podium for the first time since season 19. And I think he's going to need it. But someone who's probably needed it more is this man, Remy. He won this race in the regular season, yes. But it wasn't on track. he was roughly 3 seconds off of Sebastian Ocampo, who had a 5-second time penalty. As he now comes through the final sector, he can finally taste the glory of seeing the checkered flag first. He heads down the back straight, the main straight in Argentina, and it's going to be a third win for Renault and a second for Remy Lebeau. And for the second time in his career, he takes Buenos Aires. Remy wins the Buenos Aires Prix. Ahmed comes across the line in second. Catfish sets the fastest second sector of anyone. As look at this fight, fourth currently, and Revo just about loses out. And in terms of proximity to Bogdasarov, 2/10 compared to the 16 thousandths that this man Catfish lost out on the podium for in Abuja. As we look to Lawless Leclerc, who's coming up the hill now. And it's unfortunate for Lawless. He had a pretty alright race today until that puncture pretty much derailed it, as we look to Mohamed Awawi in 14th, coming across the line now with Ben Allen Lee in hot pursuit. On board we go with Leclerc as he now comes through the final sector. The fastest lap looks unlikely for the driver in the number 16 Trackhouse car, but a potential fastest sector probably wouldn't hurt the man from Monaco and Britain. As he now comes up to the line, he's not going to get attack charge or attack mode. And it is a fastest lap, a 1:22.883 for Lawless Leclerc. As this is the podium then. 2 Frenchmen on the podium, but for the second time in his career, it is Remy Lebeau standing on the top step. And for the second time in his career, he's done it in Argentina. Ahmed has come across the line to finish in second, and Pierre Gasly was elevated up into third after Pablo Sierra's 5-second time penalty. Fourth place sees Sierra's teammate Daniel Bogdasarov elevated to the position with the 2 Diaz-Cachitas of Revo and Marcus Nelson in 5th and 6th. Ica World finished in 7th, and there is Pablo Sierra after time penalties have been applied. Zay Lane takes home points, however they won't go to too much considering he's not a postseason driver. He finished in 9th from Dav Sanchez, rounding out the point scorers. The non-scorers were Catfish, Enoch Yu, Tommy, Mohamed Awawi, Ben Allen Lee, and Lawless Leclerc, who almost finished the lap down, with your non-finishers being Tenali Gabo, Folstad, Babinis Jr., U-Cable, Ocampo, and the Red Devil. In the postseason driver standings, Revo now leads the way from Remy Lebeau and U-Cable. Then it is Babinis Jr., Ocampo, Bogdasarov, Folstad, Sierra, Nelson, Sanchez, and Tommy in 11th. Of course, ignoring the drivers who do not have a colon P next to their name. It's not a colon, it's a bracket. I'm stupid. But I hope that race did drive you guys a little bit stupid. We'll be heading to Long Beach, California next time out when the ERL Formula E Series returns.